Funding. The Principal Secretary for Higher Education, Beatrice Muganda, has a rough time explaining just how the Department of Higher Education came up with a new university's funding model, with Education Committee members questioning the ministry's ability to streamline the new funding model in institutions of higher learning. This comes even as the Cabinet Secretary for Education, Ezekiel Machogu, instructed that first-year students should not have their learning discontinued due to fee issues. Kisewa Emery with that report.
Thank you, Chair.
While appearing before the National Assembly's Committee on Education, the Principal Secretary for Higher Education, Beatrice Muganda, had a rough time explaining to members how the State Department came about the fee structure that students have been receiving for enrollment to various universities. Various members of Parliament laid out examples of Form 4 leavers who had received their admission letters but were surprised by the exorbitant fees shown.
Now, this young man came to my office last week saying that, Bwana Mheshimiwa, I may not be able to make it and my parent can never do it. Kindly, is it possible that I can get even a P1 course? Nende nisome miaka mbili na nisahau. So Bwana PS, when you talk about the scary pro forma invoices that your investors are issuing, this is some of the examples you're talking about.
The government is supporting these students, and that is why a course like medicine, which is 600,000, for the vulnerable students, the government is paying 570, that is 95% support.
This insisting of help that a student has to be placed for them to apply does not make sense at all unless there are hidden agendas. And as this committee, we need to make it a pronouncement that the two systems must run concurrently.
Let the government pay scholarship. We want to know how much is the household paying.
The placement of students in university was also a hot topic after members of Parliament questioned why Kisii University had declared that it had the capacity to take in the most number of first-year students out of all universities in the country, above Nairobi, Maseno and Kenyatta universities, and had received the approval to admit learners from the State Department of Higher Education.
You really let down the Commission for University Education, madam, especially on that issue. If you can accept and validate a university to admit 16,000 students, yet you know in total there are 317 lecturers, they have 14 labs, you are just going to misuse young Kenyans if you are not doing your work as a regulator.
The State Department was also at odds trying to explain the methods used by the testing instrument to determine whether a student is eligible for a HELB loan. Some lawmakers labeled the instrument as discriminatory, citing factors such as gender being taken into account. The committee ordered the Principal Secretary and her team to reconvene on Thursday morning to deliberate further on the means testing instrument, which is certain to raise more issues. Kisewa Emery, TV 47.